All right, what's good, people? Um, some preliminary things to get out the way. I don't script nothing I do. So, um, what I have to do right here is let folks know that if you really want to extract what I'm about to share, you're going to have to listen to this video more than once, more than twice. My mind just works on its own plane, you know. It, it can't be compared to anyone, and you're going to understand why as this video goes on. I just turned the recorder on, and I'm going to talk until I've determined that the full understanding has been laid out. How much of it the listener absorbs depends on how earnestly the listener listens. Again, that science is going to be explained in this video as well. I'm going to let folks know a little bit more about me in order that you can put my words into context. But ultimately, the only way to understand what I'm doing is to recreate it in yourself via action. Again, I'm going to explain that later in this video too. I script nothing I say. I'm mindful of who may be listening, so I will curb any profanity that I may use in order to speak to what I have to say as clearly as I can. Now, like I said, there is no step by step. Okay, that's the first rule. There is no step by step coming from outside of yourself that you can go one by one and become great. You know, imitation is not the sincerest form of flattery. Imitation, oh, I was about to use a cuss word there, but imitation limits the mimicker, see? Because you can only mimic that which you can see on the surface. You cannot mimic the core that drives the surface. Okay? If you don't have this, if you don't have that soul, if you don't have that sun, if you don't have that core that creates the surface, then you moving body parts around will not bring what you think is a whole body. It will not bring it to life. The life begins in the core and forms the surface around itself. Right? Because what is life? Life is a ball of electricity and magnetism. So before things can be attracted to the electricity or magnetism, the electricity and magnetism must exist first. So no soul, no life. That's the start. Folks who cannot create, you know. See, here's the thing. The difference between someone who can't do it and someone who can do it but thinks he can't, they look exactly the same on the surface. Only the test will bring that out. The person who can't do it looks exactly like the person who won't do it. You don't know if you are a person who won't do it or a person who can do it until it's done. Right? Because and in this science, your own voice is the most powerful mind activating device you have. At best, the best someone can outside of yourself do, the best someone outside of yourself can do is offer a suggestion. You're dumb. You're stupid. You're whatever label we call you. The thing that gives that label power is your echoing, your decision to echo what you heard coming from outside of yourself. Until you have developed a self-statement for every single aspect of your life, a flow, if you will, a self-generated flow, You will always be at the mercy of the projection coming from outside yourself. You need to find a way to cycle your own self-projection. That area before words. That you wrap words around and throw into the world. Throw into the universe. You need to develop that. Right? Let me tell you about me. I've always had an extremely honest spirit. I mean, my spirit cannot tolerate deception in the slightest. That's the way it's always been my whole life. You're taught to play certain roles. That is your blah, blah, blah. So you're supposed to do blah, blah, blah. That is your blah, blah, blah. So you are supposed to feel blah, blah, blah. So whenever I was engaged in any form of self-deception, my spirit would cry out as a negative emotion. I just didn't have the language to articulate that emotion, right? So when I would do what other people would say, because, hey, that person is supposed to have authority. It's a supposition. Man, I'm so articulate now, but I wasn't then. And I'm going to use my ability to articulate what I'm going through. That's why I said you're going to need to listen to this video many times. If you got the ability to convert it to an MP3, do that, because I'm going to speak pure truth. And it's not going to be easily absorbed because the listener has to condition himself in order to receive it. I'm just throwing it out there because it's all me. I can talk about this all day, but I'm going to be as concise as I can. Linear thinkers, push stop and go to another video right now. This video is for holistic, fluid-minded people. Linear thinkers will miss everything I say. They will only be able to pluck out certain aspects, but if those aspects are out of the contextual family of my other words and my emotions and everything I'm putting in it, if you rape a single word out of this discussion, you cannot benefit from anything I'm sharing here. Okay, let's continue. So, if I was engaged in any form of self-deception, meaning if something was not correct, yet people pulled rank on me because they were certain so-called elders, and they ordered me to do something. Since I am in that child position, I am supposed to do whatever they say. If I question them, I'm supposed to be incorrect for asking a question. That it never sat right with me. When you go to the classroom and the teacher is presenting information, and all you do is ask the teacher to give you a demonstration of how that information applies. No one can tell you how it applies. Someone tells you to go over there and do this and do that. You ask them, why should I? And they say, because I am your authority figure. Are they really? We just learn to acquiesce, right? And our acquiescence is what gives them the authority that they choose to exercise in a destructive manner on us. We never even realize that if they didn't require our permission, they wouldn't seek it. Right? That's the math of it. The math don't lie. Think about it. Does the sky ask your permission before it starts raining? Does the sun ask its permission before it starts beaming its rays down on you? Right? Okay. Truth doesn't ask permission to go nowhere. But yet, everywhere you turn, people are asking your permission to destroy you. And you acquiesce. Right? Because we're not given the language to defend ourselves. We're given a language to prostrate ourselves on every level. Flow with me now. Flow with me. Okay, this video is about 10 minutes long, and you want to know how I learn language. I'm telling you okay, I'm going to tell you at minute number 10 right here. There is no disconnect between how I learn languages and how I learn how to live life. It's all the same science. It just has different forms, right? If you understand the science, you can learn anything. If you understand the science, you can do anything. There are no steps. You just dive in and become. Okay, become the flow. Cycles don't stop. So since they don't stop, there are no steps. In the water, you swim. In the sky or on land, you fly. Well, on land, you fly. You just want to catch the wave and ride out. Okay? I'm going to explain, I'm going to show you how I do it. But how I do it is not a step for you to mimic. There is something in the process I'm doing for you to listen for, extract, and apply to yourself. You have to develop your own mind. I can't do that for you. I will not do that for you. You're not me. I'm not you. You're you. I'm just asking you to finally be you. And you will see you. And once you have seen yourself hatch, sprout, grow green, and start producing your own fruit, can't nobody tell you a goddamn thing about how your mind works. Okay? So this whole time when I was younger and in school, when I was at home, I have my own way of thinking, my own way of being, but I didn't have a language to fully protect myself. Protect myself from those who wanted me to be what they wanted me to be. And nobody wants you to be yourself. There's a certain limit that they'll tolerate of you being yourself. There's a certain limit to that. Even if they think there is no limit, there is one. And they impose it. So for some reason, everyone measures themselves against you. Right? That's what tripped me out. Because I take the way my mind works for granted. I only measure myself against different variations of myself. Right? And I've always been that way, but I didn't know how to apply that trait in a positive manner until many years later. I'm self-educated in a lot of ways, and I'll get into that a little later. I'm just trying to lay it out here. I'm laying out the science for you. Yeah, I've only compared myself to different variations of how I've seen myself, right? So everything I do right now and everything I have ever done appears normal to me, appears whatever, I take a lot of the things for granted, and the reason I'm even making this video is because I was asked to do it. I'm willing to do it. I want to do it. I have so much to say, but most people are not ready to receive my message. When I talk to people, their capacity to receive what I'm saying, they get full, and what I want them to do is to just understand that the way you see me is the way that you are supposed to be. Not like me, but like yourself. But you've never lived yourself. You have to acknowledge that you've never been yourself. You've been variations of what people have told you should be. But you're not been yourself yet, because when you are yourself, you can only push out. And you push out because you have so much internal creation, internal combustion going on that you generate heat. You have so much excess that it's spilling over into the universe. And to people who can't do that yet, they feel that you're imposing, that you're imposing your will on them. No. This is the way it's supposed to work. when you increase your own electricity, your own life force, you're going to generate a very strong aura, a very strong magnetic field that's going to, and it's going to align with things that align to what you're generating inside. So the more you know yourself, the more of yourself you're going to see reflected all around you. And those who don't fit within that sphere, they're going to run for the hills, right? So that in that way, it forms as a protection shield of sorts. You know, those who ride with you, they ride with you hard, and those who ain't with you, they run fast. Okay, and you go with the flow. You let whatever happen happen. However they feel they need to be in their life, you let them be that. Right? That's the way I am. You know, I know exactly why I do everything I'm doing, and nothing I do is to entertain or to please or emotionally gratify no one else. If they're emotionally gratified by what they see me do, fine. If not, fine. But I'm always exercising the science of expressing myself. You know, I turn all information into something that I can test, and that test usually ends up me doing something. I don't know what the action is. A mathematical. Every action I take, every word I say, is a mathematical formula that I'm testing. And as you do, you get whole feedback. Action is the only word that does not lie. You know, whatever you push out to the exact magnet, well, not to the magnitude, to the exact form, and not even quite the form. What's the word I'm looking for? To the exact okay, yeah, the same way you push out, right? It's gonna come back to you the same way, but in a higher magnitude, because when you out here in the universe, things are magnified and reflected, and then they are concentrated and they hit you back. Okay, so as I touch a table, the table is pushing me back with the same force I'm pushing towards it. If I touch a diamond wall, and the diamond wall won't hurt my hand, but if I violently attack the diamond wall, then the diamond wall will break my hand if my hand does not have enough force to overcome the wall. But the thing is, when you go to sleep at night after a day of exerting and pushing, melatonin takes the electricity that you've built up from pushing, and it cycles it throughout your entire body. So as you exert yourself to exhaustion, when you go to sleep, your body uses melatonin to balance the electromagnetic energy that you've built up from exerting yourself. This is how life is created inside the body, inside the mind. Memorization at all, any form of memorization, is a perversion of true natural science. Okay, those who memorize and postulate and imitate, they do it out of fear. They are afraid of what they can't predict, and they're afraid of what they can't control. You have to have courage out here to take that jump. You know, you don't know what's coming. You can sort of be ready for it, you know, and that's what water is. You know, water just molds itself to whatever comes its way. Blah blah blah. That Africans use dance to measure time, because time does not operate on a straight line. You know, the concept of minutes, seconds, months, days, and years, that's an illusion. Time is actually very, what they call, irregular, very unstandard. Time flows the same way gas, the same way water, the same way energy. Time flows like that. So in order to accurately measure it, you have to employ rhythm, and Africans use things like music and improvisation and dance to measure time. Okay, And it's not even improvisation. It's actually syncopation. Yeah, syncopation, not improvisation. And a lot of these Eurocentric words are in my lexicon, but I don't mean them that way. So if you hear me use them, I don't really mean them like that, because this is not about terms and definitions. This is about creating a way to accurately articulate to liquid precision, not exactitude, but precision. It's you have to be very precise with what you understand, and that's why I really don't read very much. I own a lot of books. I own thousands of books of all kinds of genres or not, but I lightly skim them. I take a concept from them, and then I go and find ways to apply it. When you're someone like me, there are going to be certain things that you start to see, and for folks who don't act on information, they can only believe what is written down. Giving deference to the written word over what you can observe, or to shout down someone else's experience because they haven't read as many books as you. That's actually quite silly, because action is how someone participates in real time. Real time will net you real. It'll show you what it really is. What is written down often doesn't jibe with what really is. Okay? It just doesn't jibe with what really is. You see, even the way I'm speaking right now, I'm speaking in a very liquid way. For folks who want step by step, they're like, why are you jumping all over the place? I'm swimming, I'm flying, I'm everywhere at once all the time. You have to have a mind able to receive information in this way. So what made my mind this way? When I was in school, I couldn't make grades. I knew the information, and I got A's on the test that I took, but I couldn't make grades, right? Because they do the equivalent of 2 plus 2 equals 4. Okay, 2 plus 2 equals 4. My mind can't stay there, though. Okay. So for some of us whose minds can't stay on 2 plus 2, they pacifies a little bit. They go 10 minus 6 equals 4, and 2 plus 2 equals 4. So you have 2, right? Aren't you glad you have 2 of them? So then some of us go for 3. Okay, what's the third one? So they pacify us. Okay. 40 divided by 10 is 4. Aren't you happy now? Aren't you happy now? Aren't you happy now? Let me tell you something. Anybody who is deceiving you, they have a limit to how far their deception is going to go. But anyone speaking truth to you, their limit is your desire to ask them a question. Know that. How do you know somebody's lying to you? If they have a limit on how they can respond to you, they're deceiving you. Someone who is telling you the truth wants you to understand, and they understand what they want you to understand before they ask for you to understand it. So they're going to work with you until you do, until you decide to finally understand. However many questions you got to ask in the rhythm of what they're delivering to you, they're going to ride with you. They're going to ride out with you. But a deceiver, his whole mission is to get you to not ask any more questions. But we don't have the language to articulate that. They're not going to give it to us either. We have to internally give birth to it. Time is a cycle. Life is a cycle. And electricity is a cycle. Truth is a cycle. What you have to do is remove the blockages. It's like your bloodstream. There's never a good reason to have a blockage in your bloodstream. Never. There's never a good reason to have a blockage in your thinking. Ever. Never. What you need to do. See here, even this. People are like, well, how do you learn languages the way you learn it? I am demonstrating the science of how concentration really works. It's okay. I'm just giving you the way it really works. We think in steps and and sections and pieces. And look, you're looking to create life, and life is continuous, cyclical, forever. Okay, they don't even compute. They don't even, when people ask me, how do I learn a language? They got their only paradigm is from a damn book. I don't learn languages from books. I use books, but I don't learn languages from them. I'm doing certain things mentally with the book, but it looks like on the surface that I'm doing the same thing that everyone else is doing. I am not. Okay. I create cycles. Okay. For everything I want to learn, every task I have to do, I create a continuum so that the completion of one thing leads to the genesis of another thing. So me finishing this is the same as the start of that, and the end of that is the same as the start of that. And I do that, and I'm always eliminating the trash in the middle. And as you do that, your energy gets to spin around and becomes more efficient, right? Because I don't see time in straight lines. I see times in cycles. I see time in rhythm, so I apply rhythm to it in order to make it more efficient. The way I think is complete. The modality of my thinking is not compatible with where most people are right now. Okay, I've always had this kind of mentality, but I didn't know how to empower it because there was no way to reflect it to me. No one could teach me this stuff. I had to say enough and develop my own language to speak directly to how my mind works, and from that place I can create. So when people say things to disparage, which is going to happen when people are threatened by what they see you create, they're going to say things to try to disparage you. I know what I'm doing. That's all I need. If I ask you a question on what I'm doing, and if it doesn't coincide, if it doesn't harmonize, if it doesn't help me, I know you don't know what the hell you're talking about. That's the way this works. You have to develop your own language for yourself. From that place, you can learn other languages. If you don't know yourself, you can't know nobody else, right? Because who is your true self? Your body is always in alignment with the mathematical, moving, dynamic truth that created this universe. Your mind seeks to harmony with your body, but if you think in this hierarchical mind over body nonsense, your body is always trying to tell your mind where to come back home to. But if you do that mind over body nonsense, now you've created a situation where your mind is seeking to dominate the body, which your body is never out of alignment with the order that created this universe. Never. Okay? You have to get your mind to come home. Because in the confusion, that's where all the parasites can reign, man. That's where all of the confusion can reign. If you know yourself, and if you are in harmony with yourself, nothing can invade you. Okay? So then nothing is a threat outside of you coming back home to where your body is trying to teach you. But you don't even have a language to communicate with your body because they don't give it to you. Well, you know what they do? They have you attack your body with medications and drugs in order to subdue its signals to your mind to just come back home. Right? That was what happened to me. I dropped out of high school at 18. About halfway through my senior year, I just quit. And I didn't quit because the schoolwork was too hard. I didn't quit because I thought I was dumb. I quit because I had enough of being pushed into a box, a mental box. So I took 6 months off and pretty much just sat thinking to myself. To the people on the surface, they thought I was just another high school dropout. But in my core, I was not that. I'm always what my core is. My core is I need some time to just get my mind right, formulate a game plan, and then take action. That's what I need to do. And as time went on, as time went on, things just started to happen for me. I went back to school the next year, got my high school diploma, and after that, I got a job, and then I created a situation where I would just take the money from work and build my mind. So I started buying book after book after book. Started just testing myself on a lot of things. I read a lot in those days because that's what I thought you were supposed to do. I thought smart people read, right? But then I started to get diminishing returns on reading because I noticed that everybody was saying the same things. No matter what book I got, it's the same doggone things in them over and over. Everybody just repeating each other over and over and over and over and over. They take a couple words and they repeat them over and over and over. And I'm like, I'm sick of this. I need some real learning. And it wasn't until years later that I put myself through a situation where I was always acting on information. And it gave me such a different perspective that I kind of slowed down how much I read. Because as I would do, when I would try to read, I knew the stuff already. It was just like, what's the big deal? Acting on information became a part of my life. And creating cycles was always a part of my life. I stopped measuring what I thought intelligence was by the standard projected at me every single day from every single direction. I started to base my intelligence on my ability to adapt and adjust and to flex and to harmonize with whatever energy I'm facing at any particular time. I graded myself on that ability, okay? And as time went on, that became power. Because what is exercise, right? If you really think about it, let's say you're going to do a bench press, right? What you're doing is that you are subjecting your body to nature's precision, right? You push into nature, and nature responds back to you. And its response is a counter push. And so you push back, and then it responds to you. And then as you go to sleep, your body harmonizes nature's push into you from what you pushed out. Nature can only push in from you deciding to push out. In the Bible, they call it heaven helps those who helps himself, right? So you push into what you want to become, and what you want to become pushes back into you with greater magnitude sometimes. So I got on that cycle. Then I got into a situation where I was working multiple jobs, and there were a lot of Mexican people there. And I always thought it would be cool to learn their language, right? I thought it would be cool to learn their language, and I just started listening to them. I went and bought I'll give you a story. I was kind of just playing around with the language here and there. I wasn't too serious about it. This was back in 2002. And I wasn't too serious about it. But one night the store was closing, and this customer comes in late, and he says, hey, I want, what he says? He says, hey, yo no puedo hablar inglés, so yo no creo que usted me pueda ayudar porque usted no me entiende, so así, yo no puedo hablar inglés. And I'm like, I don't speak that good Spanish, so I'm like, hey man, come up front, help a brother out right quick, man. Translate for this guy for me. And the Mexican guy who I went to go get to translate for me, and the customer looked at each other and started laughing. And I look at him like, what's so funny? And the customer says, I'm just playing, man. I know English. Let me go and get this, that, and the third. And that night I said, this will never happen to me again. I was not angry at the customer, right? I decided to attack my vulnerability in the situation. I never blame other people for anything, that I can control. I assume control, and damn it, I ride out. So I went to the bookstore, and I bought the Spanish course, and I decided to just do it. And if I got 80% on the end of the chapter exam that they gave, I would move on to the next. And it had 40 lessons in it, and I got to about lesson 18 before I'm like, wait, this is some nonsense, because most of this stuff I know already, but I can't apply it. So what am I doing, right? What am I doing? So I went ahead and I stopped doing it. I would just take the course book, and I put the course book away, and I took the phrase book that came with it and put it in my pocket. So every day at work, I would just pull out the phrase book when I wanted to talk to a Mexican person. And they thought it was pretty cute and pretty funny, because I was refusing to use English with them. And even if they responded to me in English, I didn't care. It was all about my use of Spanish, how I'm going to use it, how I'm going to get my point across. So I had the phrase book in my pocket, and I knew most of the words I wanted to say, but there were certain words that really drove the point home. And I noticed that my Spanish immediately skyrocketed after I took that approach. In the meantime, I was always listening to the music. But when I listen to music, this is just me. For me, music is just not something that just sounds aesthetically pleasing to the ear. I open myself to it, to where I try to ride the emotions of the singer. I try to ride the emotions of the instrument players, right? I try to ride how they feel at the time that they make that particular note. And the songs I used to hear, like this Mexican group called Intocable, right? Some of the songs I used to listen to all the time was like, ¿Cómo poder confesarle? Grita todo lo que siento, que por dentro estoy muriendo por un beso suyo, me estoy consumiendo, ni siquiera sé imaginar que llena mis pensamientos. Y por temor no me atrevo a llevarle una rosa y decirle te quiero. Now, there's a certain precision with that, right? There's a certain melodic, rhythmic, tonal. It's a unification of a lot of things that they separate and dissect, but they don't. In reality, they're never separate. You see, singing is a concentrated form of speaking. As you connect to every element of what a song really is, most of us can't hear what a song really is. But when you finally do, it makes everything you want to do. It's the same science over and over. Okay, everything is essentially the same thing anyway. It's just that if you don't recognize the cyclical, abstract nature of it, you'll never see it. I think of it this way. Here, in my analogy, see, I use analogies in order to demonstrate the logic, right? So I would say people tend to ignore their emotions, but they don't understand how precise their emotions really are. The analogy I would give is your emotions. Okay, let's see, the truthfulness and honesty and all of that. Truthfulness is the planet, right? The core is the planet itself, right? And the weather, those are your emotions. So you look up one day and it's raining. Raining ain't necessarily a sad thing, you see. There's a purpose behind raining. You've just been conditioned like Pavlov's dog to associate certain things with your emotions. And what I'm telling you is to let your emotions run free and listen to them. Just like on a rainy day, you can just look up in the sky and look at the factors that cause the rain for that day. If it's sunny, you look up in the sky and you look at the factors that cause the sun that day. So however my emotions flow, I let them flow without trying to direct my emotions. What I do is I try to understand my emotions. We are living creatures, and living creatures are diverse. We're not supposed to reduce ourselves to robots. Anyone trying to reduce, see, I learned from those Mexicans because I let those Mexicans be proud to be Mexicans. I'm learning their language, but they were true to themselves. They didn't just reduce themselves to a palatable form of their culture for me. No, they were their full culture. I had to learn how to harmonize with that. You use the fact that you can harmonize with anything, and you harmonize with the people. And as you harmonize with them, you're going to increase their vibration of being themselves, because you don't put any stress on them to destroy themselves. You put all of the love into them to edify themselves. You want people to be the maximum expression of who they are, so that you can learn the very most from them. Just as I'm putting this video out right now, my mind works a certain way. It works this way independent of what folks think it works like, but it works. I create from it, right? If you are to understand what I'm saying, you are to listen to me. If I'm to understand what those Mexicans are saying, not their words, but how the musical, just like I say, I take the music and I ride the wave. What is the musical quality that I'm learning from, that I'm feeling from them? It's a feeling to feeling thing. It's a heart to heart thing. It's a feeling to feeling thing. It's not a word to word thing. It has nothing to do with the words at all. Words come out of the heart. Words are formed by the heart. We change words all the time. I could say, have a nice day, I will see you tomorrow. And use that same phrase 1,000 times. Have a nice day, I will see you tomorrow. Have a nice day, I will see you tomorrow. Have a nice day, I will see you tomorrow. That's boring. Sometimes you don't feel like saying, have a nice day, I will see you tomorrow. Sometimes you just want to say, hey man, catch you back on the flip side, cuz let me holler at you later. You understand what I'm saying? So, now I'm talking about. So sometimes, see, know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And then that turned into nam talking about. We change words all the time. Why write them down and stick to that? You're going to reduce life to a book. No. I allow people to create, and whatever they create within the harmony that I've already adjusted to, I already know what they're saying. I know what they mean. Hell, I might use it myself later. You know what I'm saying? I just learned something else. You let people be the highest expression of themselves when you deal with them. That's just me. I don't throw superlatives at people. I don't cast labels at people. They do it to me all the time. I let them. They limit it to themselves. See, whenever somebody projects a label onto you, that just means that they don't have the mental enzymes to digest what they are seeing and experiencing from you. You're too much for them. You're too much light for them. They don't have a way to account for it, so they get sunburned in your presence. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. If people get sunburned in your presence, that ain't your fault. Creation is designed to live at its highest expression. It's designed to shine at its very brightest. Whoever don't like it, they can create air conditioner, or they can get the hell on. They can go and migrate to the winter for all I care. Get out of my face, cause I'm gonna shine. If you're trying to affect my self-trust, my confidence in myself, you don't need to be around me no way. Okay, so I'm gonna project who I am out. I know I'm truth. That's why I don't filter nothing. I don't have to filter anything. If I'm already aligned with the force that created this universe in a very honest and true, which is honesty, truth, justice. If my spirit is already in alignment with that completely, I don't have beliefs. That's another thing. I systematically attacked every belief I had by creating actions that laid it bare. So at this point in my life, I believe nothing. Everything that I understand, that's my current level of understanding that I'm always looking to increase. My words are very mathematically precise because that's what I'm doing now is just simply opening my mouth and allowing what's in my mind to come out. Right? I put a microphone in front of my mouth because sometimes I'm talking like this, nobody in the room. I just need to hear the truth amplified back into my own ears. I'm using my own voice to program my mind. I'm not using the television to do it. I'm not using the pulpit to do it. My own voice, my God-given voice, my God-created voice is the one I need to hear. So when that voice has truth in it, I need my own piece of this universe to reflect my values back to me. I'm exercising my voice at all times. Are you crazy if you talk to yourself? The stigma is put there to keep you violating natural science, natural law. Right? You were given a voice for a reason. You weren't given a voice to impose on others. Everything you were given was for you. But you don't use it like that. If somebody has all he needs at home, he don't go to steal from somebody else. Right? I don't need to steal a smile from somebody else. What I'm creating internally, what I'm creating within myself, it makes me smile. Right? So it makes me smile, so that's something excess that I give to the world. And then they return that back to me. They smile back. I don't just go into a room and just start smiling at people with no purpose. You want to know how I learn languages. You're going to learn how I learn first. You know, so we on minute 46. If y'all still listening, y'all a few that's going to get this science. Y'all the few that's going to get this work. You know, because this is a part of it. This is part of it. You know, you have to expand into the ability to do things. Sometimes you're going to have the final vision in your mind, but you won't be able to execute it until you've prepared yourself, right? Dex, how would you quantify what you call learning languages? How would you say that works? Like this, right? I would say that I dive into the water and grow gills, right? Because